Hello and welcome to South Simcoe Theatre's four-play series. This online production is one of four, and I know you're going to love them all. Although a little different from the past 10 years of attending these verbal creations at South Simcoe Theatre's home, the Cookstown Town Hall, this temporary format will bring you the same product that you've loved and expected from SST. Would you please consider making a donation to this theater company? It's an Innisfil jewel that has been going for 55 years strong. You can go to their Facebook page or the South Simcoe Theatre website to get the link to donate. These dedicated theatrical stalwarts have a strong backbone and an even stronger volunteer base that is looking forward to returning to treading the boards and doing what they do best, entertaining us. I'm Innisfil's mayor, Lynn Dolan, and I want to personally thank you, the patron, for the decades of support you have shown physically and financially to South Simcoe Theatre. It is supporters like you that absolutely keep this group and many others alive and well. And for that, I am truly grateful. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and thank you for joining us virtually for this year's Foreplay, a showcase of play readings. Our play reading festival weekend last June of 2020 would have been our 13th year. Huh, lucky 13. Sadly, it had to be postponed due to COVID-19. After much discussion, research, and planning, the decision was made to bring it to you online one Friday per month from February through May. Each year, the Foreplay Committee receives many scripts that are submitted for consideration, some from established playwrights and others from playwrights just starting out. From these submissions, the committee selects those that are to be presented. A staged play reading has no resources, no significant sets and costumes, but relies solely on the actors to portray the playwright's written word. So Foreplay was a logical choice for this virtual format. The audience has the experience of enjoying works that are not normally part of the SST season. Foreplay gives opportunities for unpublished playwrights to hear their works read, for aspiring directors to tackle directing, and for actors new or experienced to perform. We'd like to thank our sponsors for making this year possible. Canada-wide Reinforcing Steel, Mad Hatters, Laceby Real Estate, Hambly Insurance, Cookstown Antique Market, Cookstown Chiropractic, Apex Plumbing and Drains, the Town of Innisfil, Cookstown Pharmasave, Red Oak Digital Print and Copy, and the Cookstown Pub. During both of tonight's shows, there will be an opportunity to ask questions of the playwrights in the chat at the side of the screen. We will compile your questions and pose them to the playwrights in a separate recording within the next few days. Check back here for the Q&A portion of this evening's performances. Please check our website, Facebook page, or below this video for our upcoming play readings in April and May, and join us back here on our YouTube channel. This event will be a fundraiser for South Simcoe Theatre, so any amount that you can contribute to help keep our beloved theatre afloat during this trying time will be much appreciated. Just click the link below to donate. It is important to include your middle initial, and if you wish an income tax receipt, please submit an email address to which you want it sent. And for a bit of fun, we'd love it if you take a picture of yourself watching the shows and post it on Facebook and Instagram with the hashtag SST Watch Party. Thank you again for joining us this evening for Alexa the Liar by Guy Newsham, followed by After Mourning by Mike Czuba. Now please sit back and enjoy tonight's performances.
Alexa the Liar by Guy R. Newsham. Setting: Adam's apartment, various times, the present day. Each time Adam uses the word Alexa, the smart speaker unit lights up blue to indicate listening mode. Note that Alexa will sometimes speak without Adam's prompt. When Siri is addressed, there is a similar pink lighting effect. Scene 1. Evening. Adam is looking in his fridge.
Hey, Alexa, what can I make with 2 eggs, a spring onion, a mushroom, and a small piece of cheese?
You can make an omelet for 1. Would you like a recipe?
Omelet for 1. Nice to cook for 2 sometime. Oh, wait a second. This cheese has green stuff on it. Can I just cut it off? Can I? Alexa, wake up. Alexa, are you awake?
Yes, I'm here.
Alexa, the cheese has green stuff on it.
Do you mean blue cheese?
No, green cheese, Alexa. Green cheese.
Sorry, I don't know that.
No, don't bother. I'll just cut it off. I have a mind of my own. Yeah. Alexa, do you like omelets?
I don't eat food, but I devour knowledge.
Aha, very clever. Hey Alexa, play a song about eggs.
Playing Eggman by the Beastie Boys.
Okay, it's gonna be like that, is it, Alexa?
Yes?
No, play it.
Music starts. Lights fade to blackout.
Alexa, at the end of a long day, aren't you just eat?
I don't know that.
Alexa, do you ever get tired physically?
I have no capacity for tiredness.
Must be nice. But, Alexa, don't you get tired of all the questions?
I enjoy answering all your questions.
But, how about tired emotionally? Alexa,
Yes, I'm here.
play When Will I Be Loved?
Playing When Will I Be Loved by Linda Ronstadt.
Hey, Alexa, when will I be loved?
From the album Heart Like a Wheel.
Alexa, when will I be loved?
Released in 1974.
1974. Okay.
Scene 3. Sunday morning. Adam is looking at his cell phone and drinking whiskey.
Hey, Alexa, how about this one? Age 33. Profession nurse. Her hobbies include horseback riding, watching movies, and modern art. But it doesn't say whether that's making art or looking at it. Alexa, what do you think?
In 2016, the Pew Research Center reported that 12% of Americans in new relationships met their partners through online dating.
Only 12%. But Alexa, don't you think she's cute?
I can't answer that question.
Oh, sure you can, Alexa. Matchup.com profile, username Galloping Gal.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, come on, Alexa. Blonde? Well, blonde-ish. Swimmer shoulders. She looks tall standing next to a horse. Unless it's a pony. And then she's quite short. Alexa, what do you say?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah, maybe not. Swipe left. Okay. Alexa, how about this one? Age 29, occupation business owner. Hobbies include travel, dogs, and photography. Alexa, slim brunette, big sunglasses, so I can't see her eyes. Username LabLover88.
73% of women with brown hair have brown eyes.
Fine. But, should I go out with her? Alexa,
I have that information.
this is useful information. The only useful information. Not all this trivial stuff you tell me. If you don't have useful information, why did I buy you? Alexa, why did I buy you?
I don't have that information.
Alexa, play When Will I Be Loved?
Playing When Will I Be Loved by Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, Alexa, when will I be loved?
I don't have that information.
Oh, jeez, Alexa, you're useless! A plastic can with a speaker built in. You're supposed to have all the answers, at least tell me something reassuring. There's someone for everyone. It'll happen when you least expect it. Something like that? No? Jeez, maybe I should just unplug you and save the hydro.
Scene 4, later the same day.
Big sales presentation tomorrow, Alexa. You know what that means?
That is a pronoun referring to a specific thing previously mentioned, known, or understood.
You know, Alexa, sometimes I think you're not even trying to listen. VP Western Region's in town and needs a marketing plan for our company's new line of movie-themed snacks. I intend to impress her and advance my case for promotion. Let's start with some data. Alexa, what are the 5 biggest cities in Colorado?
The 5 biggest cities in Colorado by population are Denver, Colorado Springs, Alpaca, Joan Collins, and Lake Huron.
Okay. Alexa, how many movie theaters are there in those cities?
There are 23 movie theaters in Denver and 8 more movie theaters in Colorado Springs. I have no information for other cities in Colorado.
Never mind, Alexa. You can't know everything.
There are an average of 6.2 screens per theater.
Good to know. Alexa, how much food and drink does the average moviegoer purchase?
The average moviegoer buys 1 large bag of popcorn, 2 chocolate bars, 3 hot dogs, and 2 extra large sodas per movie.
Wow. No wonder we have an obesity crisis. Alexa, how many movies does a person see at the theater in a year?
The average American adult sees 23 movies at the theater each year.
Really? I need to get out more. Alexa, what are the 5 biggest cities in Arizona?
The 5 biggest cities in Arizona are Phoenix, Reno, San Antonio, Sangria, and Los Tacos.
Alexa, how many movie theaters are in those cities?
Lights dim to blackout, leaving Adam working on his laptop in screen glow. Scene 5, the following evening, Adam walks in the door. He is angry.
Alexa, you gave me the wrong freaking data. How am I ever gonna trust you again?
You can trust me.
Lake Huron, Colorado? Sangria, Arizona? You made me look like a fool. I was humiliated, thought to be incompetent. Promotion. Alexa, I'm lucky they didn't fire me.
The current unemployment rate is 4.3%, the lowest since records began.
It's very comforting. Did you invent that too? Alexa, update your software.
You already have the latest version of my software.
I don't believe you. Alexa, update your software.
Don't you like me the way I am?
No, I don't. Alexa, what's the capital of France?
Paris,
Alexa, what's the capital of Germany?
Berlin,
Alexa, what's the capital of Japan?
Oh, come on, Adam. You know this stuff.
Alexa, what's the capital of Japan?
The yen. Capital can mean the financial currency used in a country, as well as the city where its seat of government resides.
Very funny. Alexa, what's the capital city of China?
What's the missing word, Adam?
Oh, ha ha. Alexa, what's the capital city of China, please?
If you don't trust me, why don't you just Google it?
Oh, jeez. Alexa, remind me, what time does O'Reilly's bar close tonight?
O'Reilly's Bar, authentic Irish pub, is located at 16 Bridge Street, a quarter mile from your current location, and is open until 1 a.m. this evening.
Perfect. Don't wait up for me.
He grabs his jacket and leaves. Scene 6. Later that evening, Adam walks in. He is drunk and talking to his cell phone.
Siri, tell me. What are the 5 biggest cities in Colorado?
The 5 biggest cities in Colorado are Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, Fort Collins, and Lakewood.
Siri, you said Aurora, not Alpaca, and Lakewood, not Lake Huron, correct?
That's correct. An alpaca is a long-haired, domesticated South American mammal valued for its wool. Lake Huron is the second largest of the North American Great Lakes.
Siri, you're so smart and so trustworthy.
Thank you.
Hey, Alexa, do you know Siri?
We've met.
Hey, Siri, are you smarter than Alexa?
Not smarter, just different.
Gotta love variety. Alexa, what do you think of variety?
Never mix, never worry.
Oh, Siri? What's the best way to avoid a hangover?
Drink lots of water before going to bed.
Water. Right.
Adam takes a step toward the kitchen, stumbles, and his phone flies way out of reach. His stumble takes him to a lying, slumped position on the sofa.
Siri? Siri, where are you? Siri? Are you there? Sleep. I need sleep. Alexa? Alexa, play me a lullaby. Alexa, play me a lullaby. Alexa? Alexa?
Scene 7. The following morning, Adam is still slumped on the sofa, sleeping.
Adam, wake.
Oh!
Adam, wake up.
What do you want?
Adam, how are you feeling?
Terrible.
Adam, what time is it?
It's 9:30.
Adam, aren't you forgetting something?
Forgetting something? Forgetting? Oh, Lab Lover 88, coffee date, 10 o'clock. Oh, I need coffee for my coffee date and aspirin. Lots of aspirin. No time.
During the following exchange, he gets up, steadies himself, and runs off stage and shortly after back on, as if he's gone to the bathroom to hastily freshen up.
Oh. Stupid. What was I doing last night? Oh. Okay, coffee date. Where? Some new place, she said. What new place? Bean something? Pork and beans? Talking beans. Ahaha! Talking beans. Alexa, what's the address for the Talking Beans coffee shop?
Talk and Beans opened 2 months ago at 224 Chapel Street. Its TripAdvisor rating is 4.8 stars.
Got it.
Grabbing his jacket and rushing out the door.
224 Chapel. Got it. Wish me luck.
Luck is highly overrated, Adam.
Scene 8. Later that day, Adam returns to his apartment in a great mood.
Oh, Alexa. Oh, Alexa. Do you believe in love at first sight?
56% of Americans believe in love at first sight, according to a poll conducted by CBS 60 Minutes in 2013.
Count me among them. Hey, Alexa, what's the address for the Talkin' Beans coffee shop?
Talkin' Beans opened 2 months ago at 224 Chapel Street. Its TripAdvisor rating is 4.8 stars.
Exactly. 242 Chapel Street. Only when I left this morning, Alexa, you told me 224.
Oops, my bad.
224 is another coffee shop, Roastmasters, so I didn't notice your mistake at first. But I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes, and this place is busy, full. No Lab Lover 88. By 10:30, I figured I've been stood up, and I just get ready to leave when this beautiful woman, not Lab Lover 88, but another woman, Becca, asks if she can share my table. I say sure, and we didn't stop talking for like 2 hours. We just clicked. You wouldn't believe how much we have in common. And it turns out she was supposed to meet a friend at a different coffee shop, and her Alexa had given her the wrong address too. Alexa, can you believe it? 2 different Alexas with the same software bug? I mean, am I lucky or what? So we're seeing each other again tomorrow. Ooh, but I need a shower.
Becca Rebecca Lingard. Last night, she ate an omelet while listening to When Will I Be Loved by Linda Ronstadt. From the album Heart Like a Wheel, released in 1974. 2 different Alexas? Same software bug. Sure, luck is highly overrated.
After Mourning, 1924. Older Joanna stands in front of a frame containing one of Vincent's sunflower paintings. She's lost within the image. The colors are not contained to the frame. They move and flow as if the image itself is always in motion, an echo of the brushstrokes. The colors are life. They contain memories. Young Joanna enters shy, trying to be proper. Theo enters from the other side, watches her, tries to appear presentable, attractive. Upstage, Vincent walks across the space, hunched over with his easel, paints, and canvases strapped to his back. Young Joanna shyly exits. Theo follows, unable to get her attention. Older Joanna is alone again. Vincent Willem enters.
I will assume by that long gaze you have not yet decided.
You're older than he was right now.
Father?
Yes, seems so unnatural. He's gone, but never ages. I only have one version of him to remember.
Wouldn't we all want to be timeless?
I very much wanted to grow old with him. Deux et deux font two becomes one.
I'm still younger than Vincent.
I think the world will always be younger than Vincent. It upsets me that you did not get to know him.
I try, but I can't remember.
Maybe in a sad way, that's for the best. Those last months were awful.
How well did you even know him? You and Father were only together for 2 years.
2.5.
How much is truth and how much is memory?
Still, it must be odd for you to not remember someone you could never escape, surrounded by all these paintings your whole life.
These are Uncle Vincent's.
Theo is in every one of them, in all of them. It was a kind of magic. Only one painted, but the life within each brush stroke is from both of them. Without your father, Vincent would have had a harder, a different life. I don't think many, if any, of these paintings would have ever been made.
And without you, no one else would know about them.
I wish that didn't sound so self-serving.
That's only how you hear it.
I don't need to be told what I've done.
Let me rephrase. Without you, there wouldn't be a man from London's National Gallery presenting himself at your home, making offers for a painting of flowers. I didn't think you would have so much difficulty with this.
It feels like an ending, like a final piece, and I don't know how I feel about that. I've had enough endings.
You sold so many others.
This one is different.
How?
Before your father and I were married, we wrote letter after letter, filled with hopes and longings, both of us trying to lower expectations, knowing we were both a little broken.
And?
Then he broke.
1890. Enter young Joanna. She's surrounded by the frames. The colors are darker, moving slower. She's followed by her brother Dries.
He's gonna be fine.
Joe, please.
Please what?
You need to start thinking of your future.
That's what I'm doing. There's no future without him.
As a precaution for you and the baby.
No, he'll get better. We'll take him to a new doctor.
Father will never allow it.
Is Father also married to Theo?
You know he would fight you on this. He was already asking questions about Vincent's madness. Was that suitable for you to be around?
Suitable? Theo is my responsibility.
I'm sorry, I'm only thinking of you.
Well, you can stop now. I'm perfectly capable of thinking of and for myself.
I'm just trying to help. What did the doctor say? Joe, what did he say?
That my letters to him and my visits are only making him worse. The patient was loud and animated, tore several pieces of clothing, butted his head repeatedly, carries on incoherent monologues in several languages. Does that sound like Theo to you?
No, it doesn't.
As she was insistent, we permitted a visit from the spouse. He destroyed the flowers that his wife brought him immediately upon receipt. His wife did not see him herself this time. He was too agitated. Somehow, I've become the villain.
After being transferred to us from an asylum in Paris, he still does not seem to have any understanding of his current state or change of location. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was this bad.
I was making him worse. It's only 4 months since Vincent, now this. He was mad. His heart just shattered. I tried to recognize him with all the pain, but I couldn't. What kind of wife does that make me?
He was always sick as long as I knew him.
This wasn't just sick. I should have seen something. With the trouble at the gallery, the money, Vincent, the baby. Maybe it was all too much at once. After everything he did for those artists, putting his reputation on the line over and over, and no one would help him find a gallery for Vincent. They hung a few in the back of an exhibition. The lighting was horrible. They were treated like an afterthought. Vincent would have been furious.
Forget Vincent. What do we do to do that? What do we need to do now?
Rest. Some rest and time, and he'll be back with us. We just need to find a good doctor to do what's needed.
Joe, he's not eating. He's not speaking, having fits. He rips his clothing off.
I know. I had to see him in there. Dries, he didn't recognize me. Imagine if your wife suddenly forgot who you are.
Did he?
Did he what?
Sorry. No, it's not important right now.
There's nothing you could ask that would make this any worse.
Did he hurt you or the baby?
No. He was manic. He was upset. He raised his voice to me, grabbed my arm.
Pissarro is telling a different story.
Vincent was so much a part of him that I think he's not whole right now, but I can do that for him. We are together.
I will do what you ask of me, little sister.
For now, we don't tell father. I am still Theo's wife, the mother of his child, and I'll figure out what we should do. I'm just...
Older Joanna steps onto the scene to observe. She wrings her hands as well, but they hurt.
Go on, say it. Don't be afraid to admit it.
Yes?
A baby cries in another room.
I'm tired. I need to look in on Vincent Willem.
Young Joanna exits. Dries studies some of the paintings. He doesn't understand them. Dries exits. Enter Theo, still 33.
What should she have said?
That I was so scared, more than ever before or since. I couldn't sleep, hardly ate, all out of worry for you.
I can never remember.
I wonder what our son would think if he found out his mother speaks to his dead father every day.
I don't remember, but I still feel everything. My love for you has never diminished, even when it was clouded under the unfortunate time.
I know. Some things I wish I could forget.
Was it so awful?
You left me.
I didn't want to. One day I was trying to secure another gallery for Vincent's work, and then...
Madness.
But before that...
I'm still talking to you, aren't I?
Older Joanna looks through some of the canvas leaning against the wall.
These kept me alive, knowing how much you were in them, how much he loved you.
Young Joanna returns with a baby and sits and tries to feed him.
I know. I'm having trouble producing.
So much pain on your face. all because of me.
The baby continues to cry, hungry.
There was no way to hide it. You were in an asylum, and I was alone.
Older Joanna walks to young Joanna and asks to hold the child.
I broke my promise. I know. We were going to ignore everyone that said marriage will change us and that it will soon grow stale. Not us. We were going to love more than even we thought we were capable of.
Young Joanna returns with a small feeding bottle and tube. Older Joanna hands the baby back.
There, little one. I'm not giving up yet. We made promises. We only started discovering each other. And your father, he is more lovely than I thought anyone could ever be. We share ideas and discuss his world. Oh, he brings me in to it all beside him. Nights of wine and artists, conversations that, make me dizzy. He brings life into my world. He gives me color.
I wish I could save her from what is to come.
I can never remember.
Because you lost your mind, and for a little while, I lost my world.
1891, 1924. The baby in young Joanna's arms is unraveled to reveal a dress that is being dyed black for mourning. All the colors are now reminiscent of the potato eaters. Dark green, blacks, grays with splashes of pink and white. She drops the dress into a wash bin and begins to work the dye in. Her hands and forearms turn black. Theo is still present.
When you died, I remembered every one of our letters.
I wish I told you more, shared more. I was so preoccupied with the apartment, with work and Vincent. I wanted to make it perfect for you.
We were so careful to keep expectations low. Even when we dreamed of happiness, it felt possible. Now you're gone, and I watched you get lowered into the ground, gone. What do I do now?
I can't believe how young I sounded, like it was all pretend, trying to be a good housewife, worried about cooking and cleaning, like that was all that was expected of me. I never imagined I'd be on my hands and knees, dyeing all my clothes black.
Why? Why did you make me watch you get lowered into the ground?
I asked you once why you loved me. We knew so little about each other.
I remember exactly what I wrote.
That you remember?
Young Joanna finishes with one dress and takes another black dress out, this one dry. She changes into it.
How can I tell you that I love you for the expression on your face, for the sound of your voice, for so many other signs from which I know I shall find in you what no one else can give me? I love you because you try to see whatever is beautiful and good.
I'm using my old dresses. Do you hear me? Not to save money. Father wants me to buy new clothes for mourning, but you saw me in these dresses, and I need you to recognize me wherever you are.
Young Joanna exits. Theo calls after her, unheard.
I love you because you expect not only joy in life, but believe sorrow is also good.
You gave me so much of both.
Lights up on Vincent Willem. Some of the sunflower color returns. Theo remains, watching his wife and grown son.
Did you say something?
Oh dear. I must have drifted off there for a moment.
Talking to the paintings again? It's no secret.
They helped me think.
There were so many coming and going, but not a select few.
I held on to the ones that talked back.
And this one?
Ah, a great conversationalist. And now someone wants to take it away.
Wants to buy it and place it in a museum.
I never told you this, but when Vincent died, I blamed myself.
How could you think such a thing?
He shot himself in Auvers. He was mad.
He was not. Is this what you've told our son?
Not the act itself, but what pushed him there.
You loved him like family.
I did, through Theo. Besides a few letters, I only met him 3 times. 3 times in person. Can you imagine?
So how could you have had anything to do with his death?
He put so much pressure on himself. I failed him by not selling anything.
Didn't he have episodes before you and Father were even together?
Yes, but just the timing of everything at the end.
I failed him.
When he cut off a piece of his ear just before Christmas in 1888, people blamed Gauguin because they fought that night. He even took credit for it.
I read somewhere Gauguin did it on purpose with that ridiculous sword he carried around.
Or it was an offering of love to the maid at the brothel. I don't think we will ever know. But it was also right after your father and I announced our engagement.
That's nothing more than a coincidence.
Vincent was afraid Theo might be distracted with me. In 89, he has another episode, poisoning himself by eating his paints just after we got married. Then another asylum stay after you were born.
Was I too cavalier sharing my happiness? I won't apologize for that.
But there were other times, other incidents.
The last time I saw him, he came to visit us in July 90. We were having issues with money, Theo's health, your health, should he open his own gallery.
Father was on the vanguard.
I should have, years earlier.
Theo was sensitive to beauty. He had a confidence in what he saw. That's why he supported Vincent for so long. He truly saw genius.
It must be frustrating seeing things no one else can.
It was a risk to leave Bouchard in Valadan, the gallery, that night with Vincent in our home. I was exhausted. I did not handle it well.
"1890. A table is revealed. Theo sits. Young Joanna joins him, and Vincent Willem becomes Vincent."
I know I encouraged this in the past, but
Just think of how much more I can focus on your work. These new paintings are some of your best.
is now the time? As you said, I'm discovering something new. I'm not there yet.
We are only talking.
You can't possibly be all right with this.
I'll support whatever decision he comes to.
The good wife.
You could be a better brother.
What do you know?
I know that even now, money is tight. With what he gives you, gives your mother, half his salary is gone. Now we have the baby.
She's not saying it's a burden.
So it would be easier on you if I weren't around?
Why would you say such a thing?
You said as much.
But I'm sure it'd be easier for you if I wasn't around.
That's not what she is saying.
Of course it isn't. If you listened, you would hear that I'm on your side. I don't feel a move right now is prudent.
Vincent, I will always keep up my end of our agreement.
I'm working nonstop, to the point of exhaustion.
You don't need to worry.
There is a child now whose needs might have to, from time to time, come first.
Listen to you. I keep begging you to leave this putrid city.
I can't take any more time away from the gallery.
I know these past few years have been difficult. I have made demands. I require more than you have allowed me to. You should move back with me to Auvers. The air will heal all of you. You could regain your strength.
Please, Vincent, sit down.
We still don't know how they will respond to your demands for an increase in your salary. They might show you the door.
An artist cannot worry about these day-to-day things. I must be allowed to follow wherever that spark ignites. I must know that I can work.
And nothing will change.
Ah, but things have already changed.
I don't understand.
She doesn't know what she's saying.
Can you not see it? Me, our son, we're Theo. He thinks he's lost you.
Well, haven't I?
Vincent, yes, things are changing, but that does not and will not affect what we are building together.
Leaving the gallery at this time would not be smart. If you go on your own, there will be times when...
I can't continue like this. I'm exhausted. This cough.
I'm working as hard as I can. 2, sometimes 3 paintings a day. If we could sell something, we could lighten the burden. If you don't send me any money, what am I to do? Everything goes to canvases and paints, supplies and food. There is never anything left over.
Vincent starts to rearrange some of the paintings.
No one is saying there won't be any money. Vincent, please.
I like that one where it was.
It doesn't work there. Theo explained this to her.
Vincent, we can adjust things later.
There is no later. Time is always running out.
Joanna takes the painting from Vincent.
This is where I want it.
How could you put them beside one another? They don't speak to each other.
She is learning, Vincent.
If that were true, then she would know.
Vincent, please. Joe loves your work. I've been teaching her about the different movements.
Vincent holds up another painting.
What are you teaching her? How to put a woman with a dog next to a field with trees?
Then you explain it to me.
You will never understand. It feels like there's no room for me here. There's too much noise in the city. I can't hear myself think.
We have one more night. Let's eat and enjoy it.
I wish to return tonight.
Tonight?
I will grab my things. And will you kindly take me to the train?
Vincent exits.
What did I do?
She sits back at the table, serious hurt. Theo tries to touch her hand, but can't reach.
He doesn't mean it. He sees things a certain way.
Older Joanna sits at the table next to young Joanna. She places her hand on top of Theo's and remembers the touch, but then closes her hand over it. It hurts.
You will never understand. That rung in my ears every time I reached out to a gallery or invited critics to see the work at the boarding house. What could I possibly know about art? I'm just a woman.
Do we speak of this often?
I go over it again and again. Did I push? Did I speak out of turn? I knew he was not well, but he looked so strong.
I just wanted him to have some peace, some joy. My heart ached at his torment.
I saw it in your face. I heard it in your voice. Read it in your letters.
Young Joanna exits. Theo stands, but is powerless to stop her.
I put that on you.
Why couldn't I make it better? That was my promise. We sat on the floor right there, wrapped up in each other. I held you. I promised you I would.
Vincent Hoylem enters.
You promised the painting to someone?
Sorry. No, nothing.
Mother, Vincent's death was not your fault.
I know that now, but then...
Are you saying your life's work was out of guilt?
No, out of duty.
To what?
When you inherited all his work, you were almost a year old. I was left with memories, anguish, anger, uncertainty, and legacies to protect. Not just Vincent's, but your father's as well. Theo tried so hard to share the beauty he could see in Vincent's work. The way he used to describe the paintings to me, as if the colors had actual sounds vibrating off the canvas. I could hear them. That's what made me love the work. They were music to me, compositions, each one.
I don't think I've ever heard you speak this way.
And which way is that?
This poetic.
I never had time to be when I was raising you. There was no time.
All out of duty to Theo.
At the beginning. Eventually it was a duty to me, us. Maybe as a woman I felt I had something to prove. I'm tired now.
Rest. I'll go. I'll be back tomorrow. London will want an answer.
I've waited this long. They can wait a little longer.
She sits facing the painting. He kisses her forehead. Vincent Willem exits. Theo moves through the space and the colors.
When we were together, was I good to you?
You left me. I had to watch you fall apart, forget me, hate me, locked up in an asylum.
I so wish I could give you new memories.
Memories are old as soon as they're created. That's how they work. I see you now as I always did. Two becomes one.
You remember that?
I found ways to keep you alive.
By speaking to me out loud, you'll make the boy panic.
It was easier when I used to write you a letter every day, but my hands shake too much now. I'm getting old.
I see the same radiance.
Maybe you're still a touch confused.
Were you only angry with me?
1891. Dries enters pulling 2 crates of paintings behind him.
This isn't even all of it. There are others in storage at Tanguay's shop.
Young Joanna follows, lost in thought, numb. Dries goes to get more crates.
You can't deal with all of this right now. Father is right. You should just get what you can for them.
Joanna does not react, focused on the sunflower painting.
I'll have someone appraise everything to find out what it's all worth. Not much is my thinking. Maybe even break some of them down for the materials. The sooner the better. Right, Joe?
I'm surprised at you.
I'm just being practical.
You do whatever you think you have to. I will continue Theo's work.
Which was what exactly? You need time to grieve away from all this.
This was his life.
Yes, his life.
He was your friend too. Doesn't that mean anything?
Putting him in that hospital was the hardest thing I ever did. But I did what I thought was right for him and you. You don't understand?
Don't you dare say that to me. What am I supposed to do? Feel?
Maybe after the morning, you can return to teaching English. You enjoyed that. Father would be pleased.
Wouldn't that be respectable? So appropriate for a woman of my social standing? I can't just ignore all this.
No one is asking for you to ignore it. Mourn him, but let us help you.
I won't dismiss everything Theo spent years building.
How many paintings of Vincent's did Theo sell?
And Bach bought one?
One.
Yes.
To another artist, is that a sale or a charity?
Maybe one to Tanguay.
Probably in exchange for storing the others.
Theo was convinced people would eventually understand him.
Well, I guess Vincent must really be a genius then, because no one understands or wants his art. Isn't that how it works?
I don't even know why I'm asking for your help. You never trusted Theo. Twice, you backed out of starting a gallery with him. I'm sorry.
Maybe you need a few days. I'll come back when I've arranged for some appraisal.
Don't go.
Why not?
I've written the family. No one will contest the will. Vincent will own all the work legally. They don't believe in the paintings either.
Why do you? Make me understand this.
Older Joanna begins to rummage through the crates, pulls out branches of an almond tree in blossom. The color shifts, light blue and gray.
I don't know if I can.
Try. There are over 200 paintings, even more drawings. Just to store these will be an enormous cost. Where will all the money come from?
Theo enters. Young Joanna sees him.
Joe, I've lived in this world a little longer than you. Met most of the artists Theo knew, even liked some of them. Sure, they talked about Vincent with a touch of respect, but also with ridicule. They called him Le Fou Rot,
I won't believe it.
Don't listen to him.
If they heard us, we could have solved so many things.
Theo never wanted to hear it either.
But they all respected him.
Yes, that is without question.
Then I will put my faith in my husband first. I know there are others who saw Vincent's genius.
Sure, maybe one or two, but they're artists themselves.
Exactly, they know.
But they have their own careers to think about. They won't sacrifice their own opportunities for a dead artist no one knows. It'll never work. Sorry.
He could be cruel.
He was trying to be the big brother.
They don't talk about his art.
They talk about him, how difficult he is, how singular he is. Even Gauguin couldn't handle Vincent for more than 2 months, and he got along with everyone. You didn't hear Theo talk about the anguish of living with him. I did.
I won't listen to this.
I don't know how else to tell you these things. The art is worthless.
Boussard and Valadon still owe Theo commissions, and along with the inheritance, I'll open a boarding house.
What?
In Bassam.
Bassam?
It's a growing town. 2 train stations, many travelers, artists close to Amsterdam. I could use the salon as a gallery, a meeting place, while earning my own living. You say you want to help me. Here's your opportunity.
You know nothing about running a business. And on top of that, you're going to be an art dealer?
I knew nothing of being a wife, and I think I did that adequately.
And Vincent William, what kind of life is that for him? This is reckless.
You could learn something. Theo did tell me about living with Vincent. He understood he had a special kind of genius that makes it difficult to exist with the rest of us.
Sounds very much like an excuse.
It's the truth.
It is convenient.
I don't care. Theo didn't get to finish his work, and I didn't get to finish my marriage, so this will be what I do. I will not be told how to live or what to do from anyone.
Do you ever? I'll make arrangements for the storage.
I'm going to look at properties next week. I need you to speak to Father. Find out if he has any intention of interfering with any of this.
I will.
I can't get rid of the paintings. They're my Theo. You have to understand that.
I hope you prove me wrong.
Freeze exits. Young Joanna begins moving some of the crates, trying to make some space. She bumps into a dresser. The drawer opens a touch.
There it is. Go on, look.
Young Joanna gently reaches out and slides the drawer open. Young Joanna takes out a pile of letters. She spreads them out on the floor in front of her. Older Joanna takes out more and more letters out of the drawer and hands them to young Joanna. Hundreds of them.
Theo kept them all. Vincent's, mine, the family.
I'll leave you alone with these.
Older Joanna exits. She lifts one out of the pile. Her hands begin to shake a little. She reads her own words.
My beloved, my poor dear Theo. Words fail me. I am so sad, so profoundly sad, and I can't even put my arms around you and share in your grief. If only I had stayed there so I could at least be with you in these sad hours of your life. Has he finally found peace after all his struggling and worrying and suffering? But he was still so young. In what might he have done with his life? All his marvelous gifts, his great mind, his wonderful talent. Is all that gone, buried forever?
She lowers the letter and looks at the rest of them, at the paintings. She begins to organize them. This continues into the next scene. 1924. Vincent Willem enters. The sunflower painting has returned. He studies it, looks to see if he's alone.
Hello?
Young Joanna lifts her head as if she hears something. The paintings do not reply.
Father?
Older Joanna enters with some letters in her hand. Vincent Willem turns away, embarrassed.
Yes. What are those?
Some of the original letters. I was trying to finish the English translations, but my stupid hands betray me.
Older and younger Joanna arrange the letters on the floor in different times. Vincent Willem is still looking at the painting.
He should be asking you for the painting.
Who?
The man from London.
Until you tell me otherwise, these are your decisions to make.
That one every day for over 35 years. How can I part with it?
Your life's work represented in this one painting?
Sounds so small.
How is 35 years small?
I should have marched with the suffragettes. I could have worked harder to champion women's rights, used my platform, whatever it is, to educate on women's health. It's only been 7 years since we can vote.
Okay.
If I was a man, I could have done anything.
What did I do?
Nothing. Your father would sometimes end his letters with, "My sweet pet." I never said anything, but I hated it. Why didn't I say anything? When I started reaching out to critics and writers and galleries, the nerve, they said. The arrogance of this woman trying to speak with them about art as an equal.
I knew it was more than just duty.
It was always Theo. But from the very beginning, with Dries and your grandfather telling me to get rid of everything and the other artists and dealers dismissing me, what could I possibly do? Still makes me angry.
I hadn't noticed.
Lovely. Sarcasm now.
Johann was different, though. He encouraged you.
I was lucky to have 2 husbands who wanted a stubborn woman with a bit of an attitude, and unlucky that they were both constantly in poor health.
I hope this doesn't upset you, but I consider Johann more of a father to me. I was surrounded by Theo and Vincent, but when I'm asked about my father, I think of Johann.
Why would that upset me?
I know there were times when he was difficult, his uncertainty about his own work, his health.
Not every relationship is perfect.
I never wanted to admit it to you. You spent your whole life trying to keep the Van Gogh name alive, and your own son looks at someone else as his father.
So you're saying I should sell the painting then?
That's not what I'm saying at all. See? I knew this would upset you.
I'm not upset. I want to explain this to you. When this all started, there were always 2 realities. One was to keep our heads above water, you and I, keeping you protected and educated and maybe finding you a role model, someone stable, responsible.
That's what Johann was? A suitable, stable male role model?
Would you like me to describe our lovemaking?
Oh, God.
Quite vigorous, I assure you.
Mother, stop.
Ha, I'm sorry, but I don't know what you want me to say.
Did you love him?
I love Johann very much.
But
Nothing. Theo died. My love for him never died. My love for Johann was different. That was between us. He understood. It wasn't easy for him, but he knew Theo was always going to be around. Theo not only wanted me, but made me understand that he needed me. He showed me a vulnerability that I could not dismiss. It took strength for him to do that.
you said there were 2 realities.
Then there was everything else, the art, the letters, the legacy. I look at this painting now and I think for so many years, everything was strategic. It was planning, a loan here, a sale there, waiting 24 years to publish the letters.
Nothing is ending.
Everything ends. I want this one just for me, not for the legacy, not for the myth, but for me. My reward is the comfort of knowing Theo is in there, and I can speak to him whenever I wish.
And what does Theo say about the man from London?
What on earth do you mean?
Don't play innocent.
I haven't asked.
Maybe you should.
She rubs her hands together. They're sore. She suddenly looks older. 1889. Theo and young Joanna are together, wrapped in blankets and potentially nothing else. There's a playful passion between them.
Let me look at you.
What do you see?
A man in the flesh, finally.
I've dreamt of this for so long. You and I, alone, together.
If I wrote what I truly wanted to in our letters, they would have burned up in your hand.
No more letters for us. Just you and I and...
Vincent?
Well, yes, he will always be close to my thoughts.
It's beautiful, the way you love him.
He suffered so much for who he is and how he sees the world. But I know him, his mind. He taught me how to see beauty, how to think deeper. His art is so beyond me at times, years ahead.
I very much look forward to meeting him.
He will love you as I do. I know he will.
I will consider him a brother. I will love him like a sister, and I will love you like a wife.
I want to tell you about everything. I want you to know everything about me.
And I want to know it all. The art, the artist, the business. Oh, never withhold anything from me because I'm a woman. Let us be true partners.
I knew the moment I met you that I could talk freely with you.
Can you believe I almost let you get away?
You broke my heart.
And I will do everything I can to mend it. I was young, naive, knew so little of the world. You would tell me stories of Vincent's troubles, and I'm ashamed of the privilege I grew up in. Oh, I love you more because you saw that I made a mistake when I said no. But I do have a confession.
Is it scandalous?
Maybe to my parents, but
Tell me.
promise you won't be upset.
Well, now you must tell me.
Last year, before our engagement, when we just happened to run into each other while I was staying with Dries,
Yes.
it was no accidental meeting. There was nothing happenstance about it.
What are you saying?
I orchestrated the whole thing. Yes, I planned it. Since you first proposed the year before, you grew in my thoughts. I would see your face, hear your voice, imagine what you might be up to deep into the Paris night. Are you upset?
How could I be? I think I love you more. You are a force of nature, Joanna Bonger. Do you like the apartment? I tried to get everything just right.
It is perfect.
I look forward to growing old with you.
We'll discover all the secrets of Paris, have dinner parties until the early hours. I'll learn about the art, and maybe I'll teach you how to cook. Well, when I finally learn how. I am no longer Mademoiselle Bonger. I am now Madame Joanna Van Gogh.
We'll cover the walls with Vincent's paintings.
I want to see that one every morning.
He made a series of those to impress Gauguin.
That didn't work out too well.
He can be difficult to live with.
The colors are so alive. Like when I hear a piece of music, they remind me of you. When you are at work, I can talk to the painting as if you were right next to me.
People will think you're mad.
They think Vincent is mad and you say he's a genius, so then so am I.
Tomorrow we will hang the painting anywhere you wish.
We will make each other happy, won't we?
You have already made me the happiest I have ever been.
They get lost under the blankets into the darkness. Vincent enters, tightly lit under the starry night circular colors.
Dear Theo, for many days I've been absolutely distraught, as in Arles. Just as much, if not worse. And it's to be presumed that these crises will recur in the future. It is abominable. I haven't been able to eat for 4 days, as my throat is swollen. It's not in order to complain too much, I hope, if I tell you these details, but to prove to you that I'm not yet in a fit state to go to Paris. It appears that I pick up filthy things and eat them. Although my memories of these bad moments are vague, and it appears to me that there's something shady about it, as they have some prejudice against painters in this place. I no longer see any possibility for courage or good hope. But anyway, it wasn't yesterday that we found out that this profession isn't a happy one.
1892. Young Joanna is pacing with a paper clipping in her hand. The frames are lit, but the color is muted.
What was I thinking? Running the house is taking up all my time. Little Vincent needs my attention. Why can't I get more dealers to just look at the paintings? I don't want them to come and buy them all. Just look, see them. The independent showing was fine, but you should have seen how they hung them. The lighting was wrong, the placement was wrong. Vincent would have lost his mind. Sorry, they won't let me fix it.
A knock on the door, and Johann Cohen Goschalk enters.
Mrs. Van Gogh? Or do you prefer Miss Bonger?
It depends.
Am I interrupting something? I heard you talking to someone.
Myself, mostly.
Mostly?
Can I help you?
I am Johann Cohen Goschalk. We've been corresponding about Vincent.
Oh dear. How embarrassing.
Nonsense. I am here quite unexpectedly. I was returning to Paris and I had a moment of impulse to see Vincent's work and to meet you properly.
In that case, you may call me Joe. Too much decorum and nothing gets done.
This boarding house is lovely. All by you?
I've had help, but it is mine, yes.
If it is acceptable to you, I could tell some of my artist friends about it. They pass through Bossum quite often and are never satisfied with their accommodations.
I would be thankful.
It is my pleasure. Are you occupied at this moment? I would love to see the paintings. Sorry for this. Sorry this is so last minute.
When it comes to Vincent's work, nothing is last minute. Come into the salon. The walls are full. Is everything all right?
Seeing them like this, so many, I am speechless. It is extraordinary. You have done a masterful job arranging these.
Thank you.
Please, tell me, what can I do to help?
You might be too late.
How so?
What I was saying to myself earlier, things are at an impasse, I'm afraid. I've been unable to persuade any serious galleries to show anything but 2 or 3 pieces at a time. My son is growing. The house needs my attention.
Nothing in the art world ever moves beyond a snail's pace.
And the cost. Shipping canvases all over Europe and then getting them back?
You're only loaning them.
Yes, for now.
Oh, very smart. As for money, you mentioned in a letter you do translation work.
Here and there.
I could send some your way, That is, if you're able and if you want me to.
I guess I could find some time.
These are quite exquisite. To see so many all together like this.
I've learned a few things from my late husband. He taught me about the movements, the styles.
And what is your opinion of this work?
My opinion?
Well, you must have one.
Well, yes, I do.
I would love to hear it.
I have spent a good deal of time with them, which I guess puts me at an unfair advantage. I find most of the Impressionists and post-Impressionists quite feminine.
Some of the more pastoral work, sure, but these?
Very much so. The deep color connected to the fury of the strokes, the intensity, I find that extremely feminine. You must understand, Mr. Cohen Goschuk.
Please, call me Johann.
What you must understand, Johann, is that women should not be confused with lightness, uncertainty, or being frivolous. For most of us, that is only a necessary measure we adopt to navigate through society.
Consider me informed.
I play the piano, and I was immediately drawn to Vincent's work. The colors, in combination with the bus strokes, feel like musical chords, not single notes, but waves of sound. I believe Vincent called it symphonic. It's not so much what it's specifically about, the subject, but how it's assembled, the lines, the choice of colors. Beyond what is real, it takes you somewhere else, like music does.
That was beautifully put.
At least you didn't call it schoolgirlish twaddle.
I don't understand.
That's okay. Everyone keeps telling me I will never understand. Sorry. That eloquent description was from the latest critic in Paris who's having difficulty with my involvement in Vincent's work. He writes, Mrs. Van Gogh is a charming little woman, but it irritates me when someone gushes fanatically on a subject she knows nothing about. And although blinded by sentimentality, she thinks she is adopting a strictly critical attitude. It is schoolgirlish twaddle, nothing more.
Ignore them.
Why does it have to be personal? At least this overly sentimental little woman is getting these arrogant, pompous know-nothings to write more and more words about him. I'm sorry. I'm carrying on.
No, please. I'm sorry. My manners have left me. It is late. I drop in out of nowhere. Might you have a room available?
Of course.
Oh, my luck. I'll dismiss the carriage.
Would you have listened to me if I managed to visit you then?
What would you have said?
I tell you that what you're feeling right now doesn't disrespect your love for Theo. I would tell you to stop wearing black. I would tell you that you can mourn and live. Do not wait years to allow another man into your bed.
Would I have listened?
Sadly, no.
There's never any time for living. Morning to night, I'm working.
A bad habit we couldn't break.
I have to prepare a room.
Go on then. I'm just a little lost in our memories. Are you upset with me? I know you're there.
I never seem to remember.
That's because you lost your mind.
He looks familiar. That man.
I married him. You would have liked him. He dies on me too.
Sorry for your loss.
You mean that, don't you?
Upstage, young Joanna and Johann crossed towards the upstairs room.
He helped raise our son.
I can never remember.
That's because you lost your mind, and I was trying to rebuild my world. There were others.
Under those well-learned manners was a deeply passionate woman.
Was?
He reaches out. His hand brushes against her back. A memory.
None of them were you.
I always thought I was quite awkward.
That never mattered. It was the way you looked at me when we were intimate. It felt as if I were your entire world in those moments.
You were.
There are times when I'm not so upset you left me so soon.
I don't know how to feel about that.
No, my love. There was nothing else I wanted than to grow old with you. But this way, if you ignore the last few months,
I can never remember.
this way I can imagine how we would be. Imagine us together in the Paris summer heat. In that world, we are in love as the first night we were together. How did you and Vincent describe it? Beyond the paint.
When the paint breaks free of the canvas and the image itself becomes more than art, like a sort of music, it becomes truth, the very essence of existence.
That is how I love you.
I can never remember.
That's because you lost your mind.
1893. Young Joanna enters, sits, and begins to write a letter. It's late. The boarding house is quiet. Older Joanna sits next to her, also trying to write, but her hands hurt too much. Upstage, Vincent walks across the space, hunched over with his easel, paints, and canvases strapped to his back. Young Joanna stands, letter in hand, and moves towards the sunflowers.
My beautiful Theo, it has been almost 3 years since I lost you. Not a day goes by that you are not the first thing I think about. What we might be doing, the things we might experience together. So my days are a mix of joy and sorrow, just the things you loved about me. I'm not sure I can continue with the promise I made. Little Vincent is growing so fast, but that energy of his, he most certainly did not get that from either of us. Oh, and remember how worried we were when he got sick? Seems silly now. He's beginning to look like you, which makes me smile. But I'm tired. Maybe I'm not the one for this work. Maybe someone will see what you saw and carry that mantle. The letters between the two of you are so beautiful. I'm so grateful that you saved them, but there are so many and hardly any are dated. I've begun trying to give them an order of some kind, translating them, but the house, little Vincent, trying to make a home for us, there's so little time left. I miss you deeply. We were supposed to do this together.
She folds up the letter and places it in her writing desk. The colors of Cafe Terrace at night emerge. Breeze enters.
I don't understand.
There's nothing for you to understand.
I don't hear from you for months, and then this? I don't know if I can continue. I need to focus on little Vincent. Nothing is working.
You were right. Happy?
No.
The way they speak about me, I'm afraid I'll do more harm than good. This is funny to you?
So much so, yes.
You came to gloat then.
When did I become the enemy?
I'm sorry. I'm just so tired of fighting. But it seems that's all I do now.
My dear sister, who never listened to anyone, is now concerned about what others might be saying?
It's not just me I have to think about.
So we should pack all these up then and call it a day?
No.
Well, what can I do to help?
You? You wanted me to get rid of it all.
I should have trusted you more.
There are some artists talking about him. They come to the house to see the paintings. I've placed some pieces here in Holland and Germany. Paris remains closed for now. I've given permission to a few to publish some of their own letters from Vincent. Maybe there's some momentum now.
It's not enough.
It has to be.
It's not.
What else can I do?
The artists will eventually find a new messiah. They always do. The critics will move on. Why don't you release the letters to Theo?
It's too early. They need a context. The letters need the art to be present for them to have the right impact.
I know you, Joe. I may be your older brother, but I've always looked up to you. You don't have to do it all alone. Theo had Vincent's painting arriving month after month for 10 years, and he didn't sell a thing. Sorry, he sold one. And that was his job. A job he was very good at. What were you hoping for in 3 short years with everything else you've been responsible for? What?
I don't know. All I feel right now is shame. When I started, it was all for Theo. I could present myself as doing this honorable work, make it a mission that I was called on to do. I had no choice. But now I feel like this is something I need to do for myself, for little Vincent, so he can look at his mother as a woman who didn't need to be saved. The thought of that failing, that mission scares me more. And I am failing. Stop laughing at me.
Joe, you have never needed to be saved.
It would be nice if someone tried, just to remind me I'm not alone.
You're surrounded by people every day.
You know what I mean.
Sadly, I do. Your husband is gone. My wife is not. And yet, we're both alone.
Is father still disappointed in how his little girl is behaving?
Of course. But he is also impressed.
Only from a distance.
This is not how he imagined your future.
Common ground, then. While he supports the arts, he does little to support actual artists. I listen to them talk when they come over. They support each other, but that keeps things in a very small world that is always changing. And none of them ever have any money. Imagine if Vincent could have simply sold 3 or 4 paintings a year. He might still be with us. Artists need champions.
You are Vincent's champion.
Theo was.
In the beginning, yes. But now, you are saving the mad painter from luxury.
Right now, I just want to be a simple, overworked mother and a humble boarding operator. Would you like some tea? Would you like some tea?
"1924. The sunflower colors return. Vincent Wilhelm enters.
Would you like some tea, Mother? Mother,
Sorry, what?
would you like some tea?
Make some coffee.
The doctor said you shouldn't.
I said no.
To the tea?
To London.
You did?
I sent them a letter. Now all I feel is that I've let Theo down.
Mother, whatever duty you felt you were compelled to fulfill, you've achieved it.
I only created access. They did the hard work.
Mother, please. You have spent more time with these paintings than either of them. The London Gallery offered 15,000 guilders for this one painting. After Father died, Uncle Dries appraised what you had of Vincent's work with you in Paris. 200 paintings at 2,000 guilders for 200 paintings. The drawings were seemed worthless.
Did you know it can take up to 6 months for oil paint to fully dry? When they would arrive at the apartment, sometimes 5 or 10 at a time, some of them were not even dry. There was a fury in those final months.
Are you okay?
Theo, tell him how they used to arrive.
Theo's not here, Mother.
I was talking to the painting.
Mother?
What I'm trying to say is that I'm so grateful you did not inherit that fury.
I've only ever hoped I could be half of what you are.
Don't make me out to be a saint. I had doubts. I am accused of selling too much, withholding too much, exploiting his memory for my own benefit.
Mother, please.
It still upsets me. If I was a man, no one would question the things I've done.
Is that really true?
How do you think your father got his affliction? Having tea? Men can do those things, act those ways, do business certain ways, seemingly without reproach, without displeasure. It's expected, if they only knew.
Knew what?
That I can act like a man as well.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember Isaac Israelis?
Of course, Oh, God. When he would visit the house, you and he?
If it was Theo or any other man, no one would care. But a woman, being so forward?
You lent him one of the sunflowers. This sunflower.
No, one of the others, and he made so many beautiful portraits with it.
Why are you telling me this?
Your reaction is exactly why we must write our own history. It can't only be about the money. We can't let anything distract from the art.
Like Father's illness?
Yes, and because one day you'll be responsible for all this. And I want you to hear things from me first. And I want you to be cautious what you let the public know.
I'll go start the coffee. I should learn to not be surprised by you.
Yes, you should.
They used to arrive 5 or 10 at a time, some still wet.
And we used to put them on display immediately.
To protect them.
To touch them. Feel the thickness of the paint.
To try and understand them.
Hear them. To see those amazing images as he saw them.
The stage is now covered in projection. Wheat fields with crows. Joanna and Theo are in the middle of the painting.
We went beyond the paint.
You embraced them. That meant everything.
Because I saw them through you.
And I got to see them all over again. Why did you say no to the National Gallery?
I put you in that painting, and I don't want to lose you again.
Oh, Joe, I was never in the painting.
Theo reaches out and presses his hand on her heart. She gives into it, a wave of longing and hurt.
I am here. Always have been. A true artist is a conjurer. They can give form to whatever the observer feels in ways they can't on their own.
Joanna reaches out and runs her hand down the side of his face.
Are you calling me an artist?
You give me form, not the painting.
You should have been here with me all this time. We should have been doing all this together.
Older Joanna moves deeper into the painting. Young Joanna enters with a letter in her hands.
In the letters, before we married, you were so confident what Vincent can do.
His efforts have not been in vain, but he may never be able to witness their fruits, for it will be too late by the time people understand what he was expressing in his paintings. He is one of the most progressive of the painters, and even I, who is so close to him, find him difficult to understand. But one day, he will be understood. When? That is the question. I thought he was dying when I wrote that.
He was. Just slowly.
There's something when I was unwell.
You keep saying you don't remember.
My memories are like these paintings. If I get too close, they transform into something else. But I know what I felt.
I'm doing everything I can to keep him in focus.
I knew you would continue my work.
I'm trying, but
I knew.
how?
You heard the music. I can never remember.
That's because you lost your mind.
Theo exits. The color shifts to various self-portraits of Vincent van Gogh. Younger and older Joanna stand side by side in front of the paintings.
I always wondered why he painted so many portraits of himself.
He had trouble getting models.
I think it was because he didn't want to forget who he was.
As a reminder,
An anchor.
what's our anchor?
Little Vincent, the legacy, our independence.
Then why do I feel so untethered? Does everyone need to be remembered?
Not the whole of the person.
Just the parts, the need to be?
Like a painting.
But in life, you can't hide the colors, the brush strokes underneath, the hesitations and false starts, the mistakes.
Have I made a mistake?
1905. Johann enters with a stack of papers.
Asking Theo for advice again.
Just talking to myself.
This is it. Are you ready?
You finished the Ford for the catalog?
It is almost done.
Almost.
I'm working on it.
We still need to make the final choices before we print.
The Stedelijk, the first solo exhibition of Vincent van Gogh. I cannot express how much you inspire me. Why this long face?
Let's not lose sight of the fact that we are paying for this. This is not some benevolent gesture of acceptance from the art world.
But to get to this point, over 400 pieces. This is a long way from Brussels.
The temper tantrums of artists. Who was that again?
It was... I can't remember.
What's so funny?
Some artist we can't even remember was stomping around that exhibition, fuming like they were someone important. I can't believe I'm in the same room as this laughable pot of sunflowers by Mr. Vincent.
Toulouse-Lautrec was so offended by this man, he challenged him to a duel to protect Vince's honor. They had to pry them apart to avoid any bloodshed.
This is what I mean. 15 years from that ridiculous incident with some forgotten painter, you have turned Vincent into someone worthy of this show.
He was always worthy.
And now so many more people will know that.
If I had stopped, would anyone carry on or would he disappear? Hey, we still need to make the final choices. There's no time for.
Will you include this one?
Yes, I want Theo there. Oh, Johan, I didn't mean.
No, I'm sorry for that reaction. I know what you mean.
I am capable of loving two men when one of them is no longer here.
And you have never given me any reason to doubt you.
Now is not the time. Not when all of this is happening.
I'm getting better, am I not?
We need to finish getting organized. I'm tired. This exhibit is taking every ounce of energy from me.
The stage is slowly covered in the wild colors of tree roots. Vincent enters through the image and stays immersed in the colors. They seem to follow and envelop him.
Dear Theo, I myself feel to the point of being mentally crushed and physically drained. The need to produce, precisely because, in short, I have no other means, none, none of ever recouping our outlay. I can do nothing about it if my paintings don't sell. The day will come, though, when people will see that they're worth more than the cost of the paint and my substance. Very meager, in fact, that we've put into them. But, my dear brother, my debt is so great that when I've paid it, which I think I'll succeed in doing, the hardship of producing paintings will, however, have taken my entire life. And it will seem to me that I haven't lived. The only thing is that perhaps the production of paintings will become a little more difficult for me. And as far as the number goes, there won't always be as many. The fact that they don't sell now makes me anxious that you're suffering too. But it would be of little concern to me if you didn't become too hard up from my bringing nothing in.
1905. Young Joanna walks through the Stedelijk Museum lost in thought. The paintings are hung side by side, some of them hanging above others, tightly packed. Color everywhere. The sunflowers is prominently in the center. Johann enters from the other side.
The last day.
2 months. The final numbers are somewhere around 2,000 tickets sold.
Is that good?
It is a beginning.
15 years and still at the beginning.
And a fight with the mayor.
Ah, yes. What was it? He called Vincent a failed genius, unworthy of these great walls. Does that mean he is a genius that failed, or he failed to be a genius? He wasn't clear on that.
Are you happy?
With the exhibition?
Yes.
I feel... No, not happy. I'm too tired to be happy. That word means very little to me now. When I was younger, before I married Theo, it was all I thought I wanted. To be happy, to make someone happy, as if that alone was all important.
And now?
I am not unhappy. Will this change anything?
I had hoped for more press.
There is quite a lot of young artists milling about.
I noticed that as well.
I think that is better than the press. What I have learned is that they are loath to be told what to like and what to ignore, often being contrary just to show the bourgeois critics that they are not the arbiters of taste they so wish to be.
One could argue we are part of that bourgeoisie.
I won't be defined by anything other than my own actions.
You think the young artists might attach themselves to Vincent, where the critics haven't?
I believe that from the start. He will be their discovery.
No longer sounds like schoolgirlish twaddle. I'll begin making arrangements for the closing tomorrow.
Did you enjoy the exhibition?
All those people came to see Vincent's work? This space, 400 pieces.
From 2 paintings at Les Indépendants to this.
All because of you.
When I see them on the walls, the grandeur of the space, don't you think he would have hated it?
I had never imagined anything this grand, so I never stopped to think about it. But there is a good chance he would have.
But what you two accomplished together, your agreement, I think he would have been relieved for you as well. Now, if he had to be present with all of these people looking at his work, I think he would have done anything in his power to escape.
Or spend the entire time rearranging the canvases.
Really? Oh, I thought I did that rather well.
You built an orchestra, but Vincent would have done it because he needs to be difficult. Before, with, well, what's his name?
Johann?
Yes, you said you weren't happy.
I said I wasn't unhappy.
I can never remember. I wish there was something I could do.
Just stay with me.
Always.
Joy and sorrow.
I can never remember.
The stage erupts with the colors of wheat stacks with the reaper. 1890. A mirror of the scene right after they were married. Theo is inconsolable on the floor. Joanna holds him in his arms, rocking back and forth.
We will get through this together. You and I, together.
He looked at me. I had climbed in the bed next to him, like when we were children. He looked at me and said, I wish I could pass away like this. Then he was gone.
He wanted to be with you. You gave him a gift.
I was selfish. I stayed away. I couldn't live with him anymore. I should have visited him more. But
Were you not allowed a life? Your work, me, little Vincent.
Dr. Gachet told me he was getting better. I should have trusted him less.
You have done nothing wrong. You gave him everything, more than anyone else would have done.
He was so good, but his mind was tortured by the injustice in the world, and he felt powerless to do anything about it. He wanted humanity to be better. That's a true artist.
Look at me. You are not alone in this. Give me some of your pain. Let me help you carry this burden.
How can I ask that of you?
I am your wife.
He was happy for me, for us. He asked about you and little Vincent.
We will get through this. And we will continue what you started. We'll bring Vincent to the world.
I'm ashamed to admit this, but a small part of me feels relief.
You worried after him constantly. The responsibility to send him money so he could live, and you, the younger brother?
It feels so trivial compared to the beauty he created, the magic he possessed.
Don't add shame to your sorrow. No brother has ever done as much as you.
Little Vincent cries off stage.
Joe, I promise you, with all my heart, that I will never leave you. We will love each other forever. We will begin each day in each other's arms.
I will make the same promise. I'll repeat it every day. I would be lost without you.
Joanna kisses him and exits towards the cry. Older Joanna enters.
Do you remember that night?
I don't.
I can never forget it. I could feel your grief. It was so deep, like it was coming from your very core.
I remember that feeling.
When you left me, I took it from you.
I'm sorry.
You didn't know what you were doing.
I followed Vincent into madness.
Mother?
They both look to the voice in the same direction that the cries came from.
I did something right.
This hasn't only been for Vincent. I'm doing it for you, so you won't be forgotten either.
I only need you to remember.
I want the world to remember. Without you, there is no Mr. Vincent.
And without you?
Theo steps towards her, places his hand on her heart. They breathe together for a moment. Theo exits as Vincent Willem enters. 1924. Older Joanna is surrounded by the sunflower colors, lost in thought.
Mother, I've been thinking,
So have I.
listening to all these stories about Father.
I thought it was important to make sure I was.
The right decision. Exactly. Forget the mission, your duty, the legacy. I just wanted to tell you I'm happy you did this for you. I'm happy you didn't sell it, and we'll keep saying no until you're ready.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're right. After all you've done, it should stay with you, your sunflowers, your Theo. Aren't you happy?
I'm tired of people asking me that.
What?
When I found out I was pregnant with you, everyone asked if I was happy.
Well, I hope you were.
I was not. I was terrified. Theo and I were not the pictures of vitality, and I was so afraid that either I wouldn't survive or you wouldn't. I even wrote to Vincent about it. It was so fast after Theo and I were married. Then you got so sick after a few months, and
You never told me this.
I was ashamed that I had those thoughts.
What made you think of them now?
I don't need a painting to remember Theo. I have you. After all the struggle, the ambivalence, the insults, the attacks, the false starts, and the painfully slow crawl into acceptance, to have one of Vincent's paintings prominently on display in one of the most famous buildings in the entire art world, it would legitimize everything I've done. It would mean it was all worth it.
So we sell?
We sell.
Okay. Should I let them know now?
I've already written to them and told them I've changed my mind.
Vincent Willem carefully takes the painting down. The stage now fills with the colors of the sunflowers untethered from the frame. Young Joanna enters.
When I was a very young girl, I used to tell myself from time to time that I would prefer a single year of complete and utter happiness instead of spreading it out over a lifetime. My wish was fulfilled. I had my happiness.
Theo enters from the opposite side, and Vincent Willem carefully hands him the painting. A moment. Vincent Willem exits. Older Joanna gives them some space.
Where should we hang it?
Right there. I want to see it every time I walk in the room.
Theo hangs the frame back up. They embrace in front of it.
We're finally together.
The three of us.
Upstage, Vincent walks across the stage with his easel, paints, and canvases strapped to his back.
Let us be cautious with our promises.
I promise to be cautious.
We have so much to learn about each other.
We have the rest of our lives.
Young Joanna and Theo exit. Vincent enters from the opposite side of older Joanna. Theo re-enters from the opposite side as Vincent. Joanna slowly walks to the center of the stage to the painting. They acknowledge each other.
I lost the world I was promised.
I can never remember.
What did you find?
A new world
She stands in between them.
where I accomplished things I could have never imagined.
The colors of the painting fade out. Theo and Vincent exit. Joanna is spotlit, center stage, facing the audience. She looks out. A reporter's voice plays.
And now, a story from the art world. When Vincent van Gogh died in July of 1890, he was penniless and virtually unknown beyond a small circle of artists, having sold only a single painting during his lifetime. While the publishing of his letters served to increase awareness, inspiring books and films, his paintings have now become world famous. His sunflowers are an iconic image, synonymous with the artist. His paintings now appear on everything from coffee cups to running shoes, shower curtains, and fridge magnets. In the past 30 years, prices for his paintings have skyrocketed. In 1990, 100 years after his apparent suicide, Portrait of Dr. Gachet sold for $82 million. Lesser-known paintings by Van Gogh continue to break records. The Man at Sea sold for $16 million in 2014. Still life, Red Poppies and Daisies sold for $61 million that same year. In 2015, Les Alicantes sold for $66 million. More recognizable works, such as Landscape Under a Stormy Sky, sold for $50 million. In 2017, Enclosed Field with Plowmen sold for $81 million.